Okay, so once you move the sexual energy up to the third eye, so through the throat chakra and to the third eye, which is located at midpoint between the eyebrows, and it's often referred to as the ocular segment. Basically, this is where, you know, obviously your intuition and your ability to see and perceive the world around you. And it's where a lot of the symbols are imprinted on your subconscious mind, which is why we all see differently. And even people who can see energy and read people and who have extrasensory abilities, they're filtering it all through their own personal symbols and subconscious mind. It's why we don't always see energy the same way, or see you know, the subatomic world the same way, I guess you could say. So when the third eye is closed, that's usually when we hide from ourselves and from others. Usually people who have the closed third eye don't like to look people in the eye because they don't want to expose their innermost self. A lot of times there's like kind of a dead look in the eyes of someone who has a closed third eye. It looks like a loss. You can tell in their eyes they just have a loss of perspective. They feel lost. They don't know where they're going or what they want from life, or kind of in a state of just uncertainty. And usually someone who has a closed third eye, their sexuality tends to lack a sense of sacredness. And this is especially true for people, I think, who grew up religiously and have no background for understanding the absolute sacredness of sex. And I don't mean sex as in, for many of us who've been grown up in religious settings, I don't mean sacredness as in wait until you're married. I mean the sacredness of union and the sacredness of our own sexual energy, whether we're with someone or not, allowing that energy to move through. Again, sexual energy is creative, expansive energy. And when you have no judgment attached to it, it's just a sense of really being in a receiving state from the universe and receiving energy, and then giving that energy out through creation, through creating something, whatever your unique creative expression is, giving that to the world, and then receiving and giving and receiving. That's how it looks. And when it comes to our third eye, it's receiving visions, it's receiving our creative expression. When we allow that sexual energy to move into our sixth chakra, into the third eye, it really is a sense of expansion inside the head. For me, like as I've been having all these crazy Kundalini activations and going all the way up through my head, it literally feels like my head has been expanded, and I have literally been able to feel pathways being formed. Like I can feel the electricity. My brain, I think it's because I've always had headaches, and now that I'm releasing into the headaches and going deep into the smallest level of energy that's like the root of headaches, I'm actually feeling that my brain is getting rewired, which literally happens when you change your thoughts. So I can actually feel it. So as I have allowed that Kundalini energy to come up through my third eye, I can tell my physical eyes have gained a new sense of like vitality and clarity, and there's a sense of freedom and a sense of moving beyond the boundaries of the body. Like I don't feel limited by my body as I used to, and I can. Oh my gosh, okay, so this is a big thing. When you really open your third eye, especially in lovemaking, like if you're making love to someone, a lot of people, so right when they're about to have an orgasm, they'll tend to close their eyes and like roll their eyes back, or pull their, put their head back and not look at each other. So a really powerful thing to do with your energy if you're making love to someone is actually right at the moment of orgasm, as if one person is about to orgasm, so say your partner's about to orgasm, or you, but make them, like grab them and look them in the eye, like grab their head or however you want to do it, but look them in the eye, make them look at you in the eye, and keep your eye like a steady gaze on each other while you're having an orgasm. It is a very intense experience, especially if you're open, if you've opened your third eye and you're just allowing creative energy to flow through, and you actually look someone deep in the eyes while you're receiving an orgasm, while you're like in the sense of the most, an orgasm, you're kind of released the most, like you are allowing yourself to receive pleasure at such an intense level. And a lot of people feel shame about that. It's why they close their eyes or turn their head. because there's a sense of we don't deserve to have that much pleasure. But if you look someone in the eye, like keep steady eye contact and eye gaze while you're having an orgasm, it's an incredibly intense experience. And it's also powerful to do this if you're masturbating and you close your eyes and open your third eye and try to envision something that makes you feel alive and connected to this life, to this earth, to this hologram. So, or something you want to create, something you want to manifest. But if you allow yourself to really envision your joy, like your creative expansion through your third eye as you're having an orgasm, it is such an intense experience, and it's one of the quickest ways to manifest. It's why a lot of people use orgasms for manifestation, because it's such a powerful release of energy, and if you can put intense focus behind that release of energy, it catapults it out in a really powerful way. So connecting the third eye with your sexual energy, specifically connecting the third eye with your sacral chakra, is, I think, one of the most powerful, empowering things that you can do. And I think it's especially when you've moved the energy up through your heart and you have all your other chakras open. Once you connect it to your third eye, it is a sense of freedom unlike I think I've ever experienced before. When I've allowed my sexual energy to be connected to my spirituality and to my seeing and my expansiveness, again, beyond the body, it's just, I think that has healed me more than anything else in terms of healing a sense of shame, because you feel the power and the beauty and you also just feel the energy. It's just energy. It's just energy that's moving through the body. That's all that it is. And for some reason, because we receive pleasure while it's happening, we have a sense of shame about it. Like we're not allowed to receive pleasure. If you really look at that, it's interesting. When shame comes into pleasure, all it is energy. I mean, like imagine getting a massage or just anything that feels really good. We don't really have shame about that, but if it goes deeper and if it's somehow located in our sexual organs, there's shame about that. It's really interesting if you think about it. So yeah, the third eye, important area to really allow the sexual energy to move through. And then, of course, the seventh chakra. There's more chakras than this, but these are the main ones of the body. So the seventh chakra is the crown chakra, located at the top of the head. And this is often, called the chakra that's the seat of the soul or the doorway to the universe. And it's basically the meeting point of matter and spirit, or earth and heaven. It's the door through which we receive our higher energies and transmissions from our guides or other enlightened beings, or it's really where we connect to the astrals as well. And there's so many different dimensions we can connect to with the crown chakra, but primarily we connect to the astral network. And when it's closed down, basically people don't have a sense of being an essential part of a whole, like of the cosmic whole. A lot of people who have a closed crown chakra don't understand their purpose here in life at all, and feel very sort of cut off and isolated from the world, and feel like they live in a really hostile universe and that the world's against them, and they don't see their part, and they honestly don't understand what the hell they're doing here. That's the state of a closed crown chakra. So it's interesting that when we open our crown chakra, which the main thing that blocks it is actually our sense of not letting go of things. So usually if you're in a sense and you feel you have a closed crown chakra and you feel like you don't have a purpose, a lot of times you'll hold on to the things that, like say you have children, or you're a mom or a teacher, or you hold on to those things so tightly because it's the only thing you feel purpose in. But your sense, the amount of that we hold on so tightly actually blocks the crown chakra, because it's an attachment to the world that we have, our only attachment. But it's interesting because what it results in is feeling like we have no part and no essential role in the cosmic, like in the big picture, in the grand picture, in the grand scheme of things. And I think this is the number one chakra that gets closed down when people who, let's say you grow up in a religion and you feel a sense of identity from that, and then that you start realizing, wait, this doesn't work. and your sense of identity starts getting torn down. A lot of times, because in religion it gives you a sense of the whole, like, oh, I get the whole thing. I need to pray and receive Jesus and then read my Bible and or whatever. You get your jobs that you have to do. And when you don't have that anymore, you have a sense of like, oh my gosh, who am I? What am I supposed to do? Who am I in the world? And that can close the crown chakra, because we lose our sense of our purpose and our place in the cosmic whole. And so opening that up is really about letting go of our attachment to the earth and allowing ourselves to see that we have a much bigger role to play in the universe, that we're actually much bigger and much more powerful and much more connected than we ever imagined. Again, it's all about really allowing the divine, our higher selves, to come into our physical bodies and allow that to be present on earth. And a lot of people, just as we're ashamed of our sexual energy, a lot of people are ashamed of their godlike powers. And it even sounds weird to say that, but really it's just your divinity. And I think the reason we feel ashamed of that is because we feel not worthy of it, because we feel like we have this record playing in the back of our minds of all the quote-unquote wrong things we've done, or all the ways that we have felt inadequate, or like we've failed. And that's like a tape that keeps playing in the back of our head. So when our divine self tries to come in through, it gets bucked up against all these triggers that we have about who we actually are. So opening the crown chakra is about letting go of your identity, in a sense. All those things you've believed about yourself, it is important to let those go, because they're true only at the time that they're being moved through, but they're never actually truthfully who you are. Most of us, especially when we're little, we're just responding to the world around us and learning what we are. And so there is a point when it's time to transcend that definition that you've had of yourself. And so when we allow our sexual energy to move up through the 7th chakra, through the crown chakra, and open up, it really translates as sort of an ecstatic communion with the whole of existence. It's been described as feeling like a cosmic orgasm, and basically the boundaries of self dissolve, and there's a blissful feeling of merging and melting into oneness with everything. And again, a lot of people are afraid of that, because being afraid of the unknown, but actually I can say it's the most blissful, it literally is the most blissful experience in the world. It seems like letting go of the self feels like we're losing something, but actually we're gaining who we truly are. So letting go of our definition of what we are is super important to be able to feel actually the fullness and the wholeness and the connection to all that you are. It's your definition of yourself is limited. And anytime you start describing what you are, you're actually limiting yourself. So they could be true, but it's not all that you are. And opening the crown chakra is about letting go of your idea of self, of your sense of self, and letting yourself be a lot more cosmic and a lot bigger than you are, allowing yourself to be connected to all things, literally one with the source of all sources. So that's what it feels like and looks like to allow the sexual energy to move through each chakra and to feel open and expansive, and really working with that sexual energy, that creative energy. It's source energy is what it is. It's not separate from any other type of energy, but allowing the energy of life and creation itself, which is sexual energy, to move through all the chakras and open you up. It is life-changing. And one of the things for this class that I think is important is to practice moving that energy up through each chakra, and just observing what goes on. If you feel triggers come up, if you feel blocks come up, allow it, accept it, feel whatever you feel, and let the emotion allow the energy to move. So you don't have to attach. You don't have to, if a trigger comes up, you don't have to identify with the emotion or with the memory or with the thought. You just allow it to be. Just allow it to be there, knowing that it's a program that you've been programmed with, and it's running through, and it's getting moved out. And a lot of us attach onto it and feel like we have to unravel it and figure it out and have some clue, like basically make amends for it, which we don't. Everything is already forgiven. Everything is already what it needs to be. So it's just a matter of letting it go. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this, and if you have any questions about any of the chakras, let me know. Okay, ciao.